This group. 18 to 29 is the first truly always connected generation, right, which is a huge impact. And whenever I think about the implications of that, I was thinking once about how when I was in middle school, Tiananmen Square happened. And I just made a bunch of French toast, and I sat down and I had this disgustingly large amount of French toast in front of me. I looked up on the TV and there was all of the guy standing in front of the tanks and blood and fire, and I remember thinking to myself, how can I be sitting here in suburban Raleigh, North Carolina with a plate of French toast when that's happening in the world? What's beautiful about the Always Connected generation is that the millennials have grown up knowing that there's a really big world out there. If you think about the progression of information around wars or tragedy, World War II, you saw news clips in the theater. Vietnam, you saw it on TV. Now you have Twitter feeds in Iran before the media can even pick up anything at all, right? The level of connectivity to the world that's out there, you can't ignore the fact that we are not individuals living in little pockets called cities and countries. We're in fact a part of a global community. And I sincerely hope that that perspective, which millennials might or might not take for granted, helps transform the world, because we're far too divided at this point. And it's people who have always grown up knowing that we have more in common than we do apart that can change that. There was a report from the University of San Diego about the different views of the workplace. And it said that millennials wanted a better work-life balance. And I want to read you this quote because it pisses me off. Our results show that the desire for leisure and a better work-life balance starts long before young workers have families. Of course, the millennials may have to adapt their expectation if they want both higher salaries and more time off. To which I say, no. Do not adapt what is most meaningful to you. Do not change your expectations. Change the workplace. Because the secret is that we all want work-life balance. And we have this system that has you paying your dues. Why are you paying your dues? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't work hard. I'm not saying you shouldn't be professional. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be committed. But this whole notion that you're going to slave away in order to do what? And that's always my question. What are you paying your dues to get? What are you going to get from your dues? There's a way to pay your dues that we'll talk about in a second that I think is a little more inclusive. My question then is around that quote that I was upset by. They have to change their expectations. Well, this is what this study said are the most important qualities of this generation. Being a good parent, having a successful marriage, helping others, owning a home, living a religious life. Why would you change your expectations? Why would you not want to be as good a parent because you want to work late? Why would you not want to have a successful marriage because you're married to your job? It doesn't make sense to me. And I hope it doesn't make sense to you. And I hope as you go out into the workforce, you help other people see how it shouldn't make sense to them either. So as you think about career in life, think about continuums. And this does apply in a professional manner. For example, I used to teach and write. So when I was volunteering in Portland, Oregon, I volunteered to do some writing, some curriculum for an adult GED class, just for free, because I knew that it would be useful for them. I got Volunteer of the Month, which I kind of chuckled at, and then I put the little Volunteer of the Month sign up on my board and looked at it every day, so it apparently worked. But I could claim professional experience through an unpaid opportunity. I wrote grants for a couple of organizations, got a grant. And so I never got anything out of the grant, but I could say I've gotten a grant. My father died of leukemia, so I do triathlons for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Why? Because I want cancer to go away. My grandmother died of breast cancer. I do Susan B. Komen, hand out water, whatever I can. Those are ways that compensate me. It's a grieving time for me. It's a time to feel better, and also a time to remember them. That compensates me. I never want to be an oncologist. I sure don't want to be a professional triathlete. I do the swim, bike, walk slowly. That's my usually how I do it. So the point of all that is, as you're entering the world or entering careers or moving about your life, ask yourself, how am I being compensated in this particular experience? How can I become more compensated? How can I give more compensation back? And then the tricky question is, what is not compensating me in my life right now? And then ask yourself, why am I doing this anymore? And some of the sticky answers could be around things like family or relationships or whatever. But it's a worthwhile question to flip. So job hunters look for what's available. They believe that job hunting or job searching is shooting resumes off into cyberspace. Congratulations, you're just like everybody else. And they believe, for some reason, in the power of anonymity. So the flip side is the developer, who doesn't think that the work world is fully formed, who is into cultivating and growing. Very important point, and we kind of talked about this at dinner. These are people who go online to get offline. Online, there's a fallacy around the internet age that if you're using the internet, you're job searching. It's an integral part of the job search, but that is not the job search. You have to talk to human beings, no matter how difficult that is for you. And they believe in the power of connection. And if you take this analogy further, as a species, what did we do when we stopped hunting? We started planting and growing and cultivating, and then we evolved. A job developer that came to mind recently was somebody who one day said, you know what, I really would like it if my blanket had sleeves on it. Right? I couldn't tell, I actually don't know if that's what they thought or if they had their robe on backwards one day. I thought, this is awesome, I can reach the remote and I can read.